Okay guys, so today me and Zach are going to discuss arm training, okay? Kind of do's and don'ts, what our thoughts are, do you need it, do you not need it? What do the guys do with the biggest arms? If you've got skinny arms, what you should do, and just generally our thoughts on training the arms. So Zach, let's get started.
First of all, you've got to remember the arms are actually a small muscle group. You've got your biceps, you've got the triceps. Now the good thing about smaller muscles is they can handle more volume. You can train them more frequently. So our biggest tip would be to train your arms frequently. So what you want to do when you're designing your training programs, whether you're doing the bodybuilding bro splits or whether you're doing the push-pull legs, you want to be thinking about how you factor in your weekly sets over the week. And the key with arms, train them frequently.
Yeah, I think when you look at where you're at now, if you're sat there watching and you haven't got a lot of muscle, let's say you're a man or a woman and you've not got a lot of muscle, and you're thinking, right, how's best I could get big arms? You wouldn't always jump into arm training straight away. You might want to consider getting strong in the pushing and pulling movements first, okay? Only when you're quite intermediate and advanced would arms actually be a good point to go with directly, and like Zach said, at that point you would then go quite frequently. But if you're brand new to the gym, I would probably favour movements that activate bicep and tricep through bigger movements like pull-ups, okay, or bench pressing, or close grip bench pressing, or dips, some heavy dumbbell rows. Like initially, if you're just starting off, I would definitely use those kind of exercises before going to some bicep curls, because overall we need to get stronger, right? Overall we need to build a stronger structure, and then once you've ticked that box, that's when the frequent arm days come in. And then what do you think about exercise selection for bicep and tricep once you can do some isolation?
I think it's more about changing your angles. So if we're looking at the tricep, we've got the overhead position, we've got like a horizontal position, and we've got a push down position. And same with the biceps, we've got angles where we're in front of the body, behind the body, and I think it's the rotation, the variation, that's key. If it's like anything, if you keep it in the same movement over and over again, that's when the repetitive strain injuries come in. Yeah. You see a lot of guys and girls with like tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, just because they keep doing the same thing. You always see that guy on the preacher curl every session, and that's where these tender points come in. Now, like anything, if you want to progress, you want to keep injuries down to a minimal.
Yeah, definitely. And another key thing to consider when training arms is going to full range and getting good form, because it seems to be that a lot of people have really poor technique with arm training, and don't know where it comes from really, but you see a lot of guys that aren't fully extending when they're on bicep curls. It's short half reps, and like Zach said, that's what it's going to cause. It's going to cause some issues. So every single exercise you do should be to the full range of the muscle, and then you can ensure that, one, you're doing the correct form, two, you're not going to get injured, yeah, and you're going to get the most out of your arm training that way, definitely.
I think a big one with arms compared to the muscle groups is your ability to take them to failure as well. Yeah. It's not like doing a bench press or a squat or a deadlift where, you know, there's a lot of technical aspects and a lot of safety aspects. With arm training, let's say down on the cables, you can take that to failure with no risk on safety. And because of the recovery capacity of the biceps and triceps, you can flog them pretty hard. You can use a lot of extended sets, drop sets, rest pauses, muscle rounds, that sort of thing. And you can make it more fun with arms. Yeah. You can make a lot more fun with your training. Yeah. Hence why most lads love training them.
Yeah. And you know what you find mostly, like the guys with the biggest arms generally are really strong, and they do hammer them. Like there's only a few people that probably don't do much direct arm work that have big arms, but that's a genetic component. So you've seen the guys where they're walking around, their arms are huge, right? They're either hammering just arms or they're genetically gifted with arms, okay? So yeah, there is a genetic element to it. Like the shape of your arms, I remember having a conversation a few years back with one of the lads, and he was like, Andy, I like the shape of this in your arm, and then I don't like the shape of that in your arm. Like, you cannot change your origin and insertion. You cannot change where the muscles attach, okay? You can change what's in between. You can change the size of it to a point, but in terms of the shape of the arm, you're not going to be able to point and say, I want it to look like that, okay? Or I want it to peak like that. I want a really big peak on the bicep, okay? You've got what you have got, and you can only adapt to a certain point, okay? So you can't change the shape, okay? Some people's arms start off higher, some people start off lower. Same with the tricep. Some people have quite a lot of muscle at the bottom, some people have a muscle at the top, okay? That's just where your muscles attach, okay? So don't get too caught up in the way they visually appear, you know, as you're going along. Just work them hard, change the grips, different angles.
The actual equipment as well, cables, dumbbells, barbells, bands, just keep mixing it up.
Yeah, and it's important as well to consider that just because it is a small muscle group, you don't always have to go higher rep ranges, okay? You can go, and I would recommend to go down into the lower rep ranges, even 6 and 8s for biceps and triceps, especially triceps. So don't always think you have to do the pump sets. You can do a heavy element to it as well. Like some good close grip heavy pull-ups, they work really well for the bicep. Heavy dips, some heavy close grip press in there, all good for the arms as well. So it's not just higher rep ranges as well.
Just look at athletes, you know, they won't be doing much arm training, but some of them got jacked arms because it's all about the pushing and pulling.
Yeah.